to the With Clutch demonstration of the digital account origination product for the employee experience. So what you're seeing right now is the dashboard or launch page for the employee experience that is going to be driven based off of role and permission. All users are provisioned using your existing technology that you use for identity verification internally. So think Okta, Active Directory, so on and so forth. That provisioned user will come with a series of permissions that, again, you will dictate that will define what they can see and what they can do. Now, the dashboard does provide, quite a few options for them to be able to search for accounts, again, through an omni-channel approach. So it does support the ability for them to have visibility into accounts that have been originated online for the purposes of picking up that account and facilitating completion in branch, as well as, again, giving them visibility into the various stages of those applications. So this can be sorted based off of specific branch. It can be sorted based off an origination channel, an application status, funding status, or fraud status. To take that a step further, I can dive deeper into the first person that I see here in my list, Devin. And you'll see this is an existing member that does have a litany of different accounts. I'll choose the first option where, again, I can see all of the different accounts that were opened on this specific day. So I can see that the account is active, the funding status has been processed, and it's also passed fraud. If I needed to dive deeper into any of these particular areas to determine, again, how we could facilitate bringing this to completion, I could simply click on any of these green boxes and be taken directly into tools like Alloy or into the solutions for funding mechanisms as well. I do know these accounts are open because, again, I've received an account number back from Core, so that's a good sign. And if I jump back into, again, that pipeline view, I can actually take a look at, this particular account. So I know that in this scenario that, again, they've started the funding status, but fraud has not been started. And so if I needed to take a deeper look, I could easily link, directly into this particular component to find out what's going on. Now, with that being said, in addition to providing kind of a pipeline of account activity as well as information that the MSR can utilize to assist their member, we also facilitate the ability for them to open new accounts through this process. For those of you that have watched the digital version of this, effectively, this will look and feel very similar. So as they start the process, the first thing that we will ask them to do is to define a membership category. The membership category will effectively drive the product selections that are available on the following screens, which we'll show you in just a moment. Now, big differences to highlight here are that the in-branch solution does support more complex types of origination. So not just your traditional memberships or youth accounts, but it also supports business and any sort of maybe tailored solutions that you may have, like All-In's preferred financial advisor program. Again, more of a fiduciary type relationship. Now, what you will see as I choose the membership type, again, you'll see dynamically below that we've also rendered different fiduciary options that they can choose from. So in All-In's example, they do support representative payees and conservatorships, but this would also be where you could identify if this is an account that's going to be titled in the name of a trust. Now, for our purposes today, I'll just choose a regular consumer account. And so you'll see as I navigate to the following screen, it's going to show me those different account categories. So I can choose from savings, checking, money markets, time deposits, as well as, again, rest assured that much like the digital member-facing experience, I do not have to worry about as an employee to include that requisite share account. The system will automatically do that for me for, again, those net new members. Now, as I choose this particular product, effectively, you'll see on the following screen that I'm now shown all of the different options that fall into that category. And so I'll choose our Smart Rewards Premium account. And again, I'll be shown all of the features that are available for that specific type of account. Now, Clutch also, just like I mentioned on the consumer-facing side, does have the capability of being able to display a litany of different solutions and as well as auto-defaulting them if they are a requirement of the account. Now, as I add those specific features, what you'll notice, this green box or the box towards the bottom actually lit up green. And that's because we support a shopping cart experience. So as an MSR, I could simply just click on, adding additional accounts to my list and manage them through this particular option. So if, let's say I had 5 or 6 accounts, the member changed their mind and didn't want to originate all of them, I can remove any of them that are necessary. With that being said, I'll just continue our process. And at this point, we are actually going to facilitate pulling in the PII information for this either member or net new member. And so much like we've seen on the consumer side, we employ the same cell phone lookup service that allows for us to not only pre-fill the member's information, but it also allows us to get access to the device details that they're using, so it can be incorporated into your fraud policy run via Alloway. So I'm just going to type in a phone number. I'm going to go ahead and send that member a multi-factor authentication code, and then follow that up with the last four of their social. Now, you'll see I have a button that says import information, and effectively by clicking that, I've now been able to, again, leveraging the pre-fill service, pre-fill Dylan's information into the application. Now, with that being said, there's quite a great degree of configurability on additional fields or information that you may want to collect, such as the name of their employer, monthly income, housing payments, etc. This can also be facilitated via a drop-down if that's more of your preference. Now, with that being said, we don't require the cell phone pre-filled lookup. Again, all of these fields can be manually entered if the member so chooses, or if the MSR so chooses to do so. Or if the member just doesn't have access to their mobile device, or let's say it's a member that doesn't have access to their email, you do have the ability, you'll see towards the bottom of the screen, to indicate as such, which would allow for you to facilitate the process end-to-end within our experience without the need to engage with the member via their device. Now, our preferred method, which is what I'm going to show you, does require that. So you'll see on the following screen, as I continue, that I'm now going to be taken to a summary screen where I'll be able to see all of the information about the account or accounts that we were looking to open for this member. Now, at this point in the process, we've also done a core lookup. So no need for your teams to go into your core and effectively look to see if this person's an existing member. Clutch will do that for you automatically. And in this scenario, Dylan happens to be an existing member. And again, we've pre-filled that data, as well as removed any sort of required share account, from the mix. So again, just allowing him to be able to open the account that he came with the intent to open. So we're going to identify a funding amount, and you'll see towards the bottom of the screen that we now have the button that says send suggestion. And so how this will work is, again, in our preferred method, we're going to send the member an email that they'll receive, where again, they'll be able to then log in. So they'll click open my account, and they'll re-authenticate themselves. So they're going to put back in their cell phone number along with the multi-factor authentication code that we'll push out to them, and then follow that up with the last four of their social. And so they'll see all of their information on screen. They'll have the ability to verify their funding amount. They can also add joints or beneficiaries here if they want. They can even add another account should they have forgotten. And then as they continue, they'll electronically accept their disclosures. So again, this is our preferred method to keep this paperless and allow for us to catalog all of these details into a compliance report that we will send to you that basically provides you with date, time, and IP stamp of where they've agreed to these disclosures, thus covering you from a regulatory perspective. Once they've accepted their disclosures, we'll take them to the funding screen. For those of you that watched the demonstration we did on the member-facing side, you probably will notice that there is a new option here for cash or check. This will also appear inside of the the employee-facing experience if the selection is chosen or enabled rather, indicating that the member doesn't have access to their device. And so you're fulfilling that completely in our platform. So I'll choose cash or check, and then we'll go ahead and we'll agree and proceed. Much like we saw in the member-facing version, again, what's happening behind the scenes is Alloy is going to run. And so I'm now going to jump back into our portal where, again, I'll just go ahead and refresh this pretty quick, and I'll see Dylan's information right here. So Dylan's a great member. He's got 101 accounts. And as I click into his profile, what we'll see on the following screen is, again, that account, that Smart Rewards Premium that we just looked to open, which is here. As I click into that account, again, I'll be able to see that the account was created. So in real time, it was sent to the core. The funding status has been processed. And then last but not least, Dylan has passed fraud. What we've received back from the core, again, is that account number. And then Dylan has also received that welcome email as well, following up with an electronic version of those disclosures that he electronically accepted. Now, last thing that I will mention to you is this is the current version of the solution. What we're launching in Q4 of this year is, again, an enhanced version that will not only allow for your teams to be able to effectively originate new solutions, but tying that together with our current loan portal. And so you'll see in this scenario, again, kind of running through that same same workflow that we just went through. The member or MSR will start with, again, identifying the type of membership that the person is going to apply for. As they continue, they'll be shown all of those different, account categories. We'll just choose share certificates here. We're going to choose our 12-month variable. And then as we continue, again, we'll be shown that summary screen where, much like we saw just a moment ago, and be able to identify, a funding amount, and then ultimately submit our application. Now, once we've submitted our application, what's new about this particular version is you'll see an option that says check for available offers. And as part of that electronic delivery of disclosures, we will have gotten the member to provide us with consent to pull a soft credit inquiry. And what we'll see on the following screen is, again, a litany of different products that this member has been pre-qualified for from a net new debt perspective, as well as opportunities for savings based off of their current trade lines. And again, the MSR would be able to simply click into any one of these offers, put in a couple of pieces of detail, and then submit that directly to your LOS. That's going to conclude our demonstration today. Thank you for your time.